Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Connecting Dots podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Usama, and today we are joined by Ali, all the way from Germany. He is serving in the capacity of a Chief Technical Officer at IDWare. And in this upcoming conversation, not only would we be getting to know his professional journey a little better, but we'll also get to talk to him about how software and technology can be an enabler in driving economies in different first world and third world nations. So with that, we formally welcome you to the show, Ali. Thank you so much for being part of the show. And how had your day been so far?
Thank you, Sana. Thanks for inviting me in your podcast. So yes, the day is great. It's cloudy, it's sunny, it's mix of both. And yeah, we have been working here. I'm sitting right now in my office, just taking a break to talk to you guys. So it's a great day.
Excellent. So with that, let's get started. First of all, Ali, please share a rundown of your professional journey. How had it been so far, and what kind of roles have you taken in the past?
Wow, that's a long history.
Let's try to keep it under 5 minutes, I guess.
Okay, that sounds like a deadline, let's say a time slot. So principally, I'm a hardcore programmer. I used to be. But I started as a logo programmer. Commodore 64 was the gift I got from my father in 85 when I was 8. And since then, I'm dealing with computers. I did a lot of low-level programming. After my master's, directly I got 3 job offers. But together, my family, I decided to go for Germany because at the end of the day, it was Intel Corporation, so American company, but they wanted to hire me for their German location. So it was a tough decision. I'm the only one of my family who's outside Pakistan. So we had no experience. In fact, I have a very interesting thing to share. I was sitting in the aeroplane for my first flight from Pakistan to Munich, and the person sitting next to me asked me that, where are you going to, heading to? I said, Ulm. By the way, Ulm is the birth city of Einstein. And we have the Intel office over there. And I said, I have to go to Ulm. He said, okay, and what's the plan? Are you going there for the first time? I said, yes, I'm going there for the first time. And how will you drive there? And I said, I don't know. I'll take a taxi from the airport and I will just go there. And he was looking at me. Do you know how far it is from Munich? I said, no. In the map, it looks pretty close.
Okay.
And then he was really surprised. He said, you don't know that? I said, no, I don't know that. So he said, it's 180 kilometers from Munich. And I was like, seriously? But he was a really nice guy. He took me to the Munich Central Station from the airport. And from there, he explained it to the train driver and ticket checker that this guy is here for the first time. Please help him get out of the train when Ulm arrives. This is how it started. But then I did programming till 2005. In 2005, I was actually in the R&D department. I won 3 awards at Intel, but the very next person sitting to me was 20 years older than me. So they were all doctors, and I was the only one who was only holding the master's degree. So I decided, no, I don't want to die like this. So I want to do something more than only writing the code. So I opted, and I did a very, let's say, I made a great or a huge decision. And I said, I want to do management. That's what my family is known for. It's in our blood. Of course, I'm the only techie in my family. The others are bankers or in the customer services or public services industry or politicians. So I said, okay, no, I want to be a manager. I joined Nadra with that. I was back there in Pakistan for some short time. And then I moved back to Germany and I continued with my management career. It was a really hard experience. I faced a lot of things until I got my first promotion in Germany in Berlin 2010 when I became the department head. And since then, the things totally changed for me. So, and then I moved as head of department for the medical company. Then I moved to head of department for for automotive company, for SAP. And then I finally landed at IDWare when I'm looking into identity and access management industry, which is more and more security oriented. But that's the way I came here. In the meantime, I did amazing things. I think I really enjoyed it. I acquired offices or companies. I did due diligences for before acquisitions. I hired people worldwide. I have trained people. I love to write articles. I did a lot of publishing in LinkedIn. I love that. And I have dealt with different kind of mindsets around the world. I think I'm good at it right now. And so my to make it simple, I'm right now somebody sitting here with a vast experience of international corporate management, process-oriented guy I am. So I do a lot. I believe in processes. I define processes. I have led my corporations starting from 2015 from Audi when I sit in front of an auditor for the first time, and since then I'm leading my companies, even at IDWare, to have successful audits, ISO audits, compliance, plus technical things. Anyway, that's my pride. So that's what I am. So I am a technical trainer. I am an agile practitioner. I am process oriented guy. I am corporate manager. That's what I am.
That's very excellent. So, with that, let's double down on the role of your chief technology officer. So, first of all, when you were making that transition from your hardcore programming roles, first of all, what was your motivation that you were like, okay, I understand this is more of a leadership role, so I won't be doing as much programming. So, how did you make peace with yourself that there would be no more programming, but more of a leadership sort of aspect to it?
Like I mentioned earlier, so it's in my blood. Everybody around me is a manager. So if you
Okay.
look at my brothers, if you look at my father, if you look at my father-in-law, for example, they all are either running their own businesses
Yeah.
or they are heads of something. So and they are very successful in their career. So I was the only one. They used to call me a box. In our language, they call it dabba. So it's like
Okay.
somebody who only know zero and one.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was like, okay, I am a very successful programmer and I'm proud of that, what I did in the past. But I want to try my management skills as well. Initially it turned out to be a very bad decision, by the way, because of the ups and downs I've experienced. And people sometimes was not really happy with a mixture of somebody who's sometimes a technical guy, sometimes a managerial person. But with the piece, with the passage of time, I just used to become more and more manager, and I have made a lot of failures. I made a lot of bad decisions, but now I think I'm very comfortable with this position. Like what you have said, I found my peace. So now I know what language I have to speak, and this is I believe where I'm doing right now a good job, a great
Yeah.
job.
And the reason I asked you this was like pertaining to the conversation before the recording that as a technical person we are very much eager to know anything and everything about the product that we are working in. So in order for us to detach from that reality, I think that's very important that we make peace with the reality that there would be less of technical work but more of a leadership oriented work, I would say. So let's build upon that a little further, Ali. Explain in, or maybe simplify it for us, that when you are in a CTO position, how much do you think of an influence the position comes with? That when you are devising strategy for the product with other C-suite level people, how much leverage do you have when it comes to making technical decisions for the product?
Very interesting question. By the way, I have to tell you, most of the time, my colleagues sitting in the
Yeah.
board or the management level, they have to give me a shut up call
Yeah.
whenever I'm going to get into technical details. And they say, Ali, please don't get
Yeah.
into details. So I
Okay.
still have to struggle with myself. I have to fight with myself just to stay at their level, a high level, which is talk in their language so they understand, and just forget about my technicalities and the technical issues. But principally, coming back to your question, so principally, I really get benefit because of my technical background. Because I'm somebody right now sitting in between who can talk to my technical teams. Initially, when I started my career, I thought CTO is somebody who's best in writing code, who is like a best architect. But
Hmm.
ask me how much time I spend writing code, zero. So,
Right.
of course, I have the technology vision.
Yeah.
I read lot. I do a lot of readings. I
Hmm.
guide people in a selection of technology stacks and all that. I do really wonderful constructive discussions. But that's not what my company expects from me. They want me to be a leader. They want me someone who can guide others, and understand the company vision, and then help and translate it into technical language, and then help my teams follow this vision, and do other way around, which means talk to the management, marketing guys, our CMO, our CPO, try to understand what they want, and then translate it. So which means translation of technical thing into common man language, in translation of common man requirements into technical language. That's what I do. Plus I do planning, talking. That's what I'm doing right now.
That's excellent. And now, if we build upon your technical leadership experience, Adi, again, simplified for us that considering the advances in technology that we have right now, how do you see software as an enabler for driving economy in different, maybe emerging first world countries, I would say?
Wow. Yes, principally, it's now more than software. I mean, if you ask me what IDWare do, I never introduce IDWare as a software development company because we are not. We are system development company. So the things have moved a step forward. So it's no more only software. It's always a combination. You might have heard of IoT devices. We have smart devices. It's always a combination of software and hardware. So principally, I think for the first world countries, it's totally different compared to the third world countries or second world countries. So principally, I think it's all about technology. Look at the companies that actually are ruling right now and tell me how many of them are non-technical. So I throw this question back to you. So which will actually give you a very clear picture that how important technology in economy of any country is right now. How many jobs they produce directly and how many jobs they produce indirectly. How many businesses they are actually generating and how they are driving their national economies. How influential they are, how they are actually guiding their governments to finalize their future strategies, how they are pushing their governments to have an official CTO, for example. I think you recall the time when US actually hired their CTO for the first time. So things have changed. Countries are more into having digital heads, technology heads who can work with the corporate leaders, technology corporations, and define the future of the country. If I do not imagine any country leading current world or future world without being leader in technology. This is how I see. And now coming back to this question, what kind of technology? So this is a difficult question because we have different kind of technologies. You need something here, something there, but whatever you have in your life, you cannot imagine. I mean, even this cup, if I believe if it's something mass productive or produced or massively produced, then there must be some automation back there. So to optimize the cost, to do the efficient production. So you have technology everywhere. I mean, no matter what. For third world countries, a little different because, but anyway, you asked about first world countries. So first world countries are anyway ruling the current world because of their technology
Right.
advancement, I would say.
And let's say if we extrapolate the same thought, I mean, that's why I use the term of an emerging first world country. So let's say for countries who are struggling with their current economic situation, I see software as an enabler that brings more transparency to their processes and to defining the structures. In the public sector, that's the minimum to say, that's the least to say. So in your opinion, how adamant do you think governments are, private sector is in these maybe third world countries or emerging first world countries where they really want to improve their economic situation and well-being of their people? So as you know, coming from a leadership role, how do you see the situation like?
I mean, I have experience with a couple of emerging economies. I would say I would call them third world countries. Let's say, let's rename it. Let's make it sounds better. And so, principally, you see, there is a different perspective. So, how the advanced countries who are really ahead in this area look at these countries. So they look at these countries as some place that generates raw material.
Okay.
They polish it, they use it for themselves. And then cost effective, of course. And then extremely hardworking, of course. but again a raw material. So they are the units that generate raw material for them to meet their needs. But on the other hand, what I believe that these emerging industries, they can really get more out of it. If I talk about, for example, my homeland, Pakistan, I'm not really happy about how, with the revenue that we generate, with the kind of development that we do, and the quality of results that we produce. I believe the potential is 200, 500 times more. And what we are doing is really this part, this thing. So, which means how we can improve. How we can improve is the awareness of the industry, the standard of the education, because we have our site office in Pakistan as well, for example, and we used to discuss a lot of things with the universities. We have a corporate partnership program. We do have partnerships with a couple of universities over there, and I'm really not happy about the quality of the education and the quality of the students that are coming out of these institutes. So I've been pushing universities to rework on their agenda, to rework on their syllabus, and comply with the current technology world to generate something that is ready to use, rather than they produce something, then the companies like me comes, or some small companies, they give them these boys, these girls, some experience so that they become useful or productive for the high-tech industry. For that, I still remember that a successfully launched initiative from Suhail Naqvi, Knowledge Streams is the name of that institute in Lahore. It's a wonderful initiative. So what they are doing is they are taking the graduates, the fresh graduates from the university, they are polishing them to understand the industry's standards, practices, and making these people available to the more mature corporate world, ready to use right from the first day. So principally, what we lack in emerging economies is the standardizations, the detail orientation, the vision, the expectation, understanding. They do not really understand. What they are doing is low level programming, for example. Days are gone. You certainly, or every time you will be needing people who are doing this low level programming. So I put something in front of you, say, write me this code. But how long? You already have chat GPT that is actually challenging you. So principally, you have to change yourself. Technology is not there to replace you, it's there to support you. And if you do not comply yourself with changing world, with changing times, then you are very soon a history. You are out of the game. So you need to understand that writing code is no more a skill that is highly valued. Writing now in this kind of secure code. So this secure word have changed a lot of things in the expectation. Stable, user oriented, for a better user experience that comply to different standards. This is what is expected out of you. But if you talk in my homeland with someone about ISO compliance, they look at you and say, that's a boring discussion. No, it's not boring actually.
Okay.
It's very important. It's different
Yeah.
kind, different way. For me, it's very easy to sell IDWare products if I tell my customers, uh, Airbus, Volkswagen, that I have ISO compliance, this, that. I follow security standard X, Y, Z. Then I will answer 80% of their questions even before they ask me this thing, and then we talk about rest of the remaining things. So I believe now these emerging countries need to understand that the world is changing, and please try to understand what is the market requirement. What I see is that everybody is doing AI degree or certifications or courses. You need to look at the market, how many jobs are there. So the raw material that you're producing, where do these guys fit in? Is there a market need? Every country have different dynamics. So we need to give people these maturity so they really analyze the situation, the market job situation, and then the technology trends. And it's different from every country to country. And then they have to see what they want to do, not because their parents want them to be an IT engineer. They really want to be an
Yeah.
IT engineer. That's why they have studied IT engineering. So we need to change the mindset, the local cultural mindsets. This is the challenge in every country. It's different. Then we need to give the understanding, the vision, and for the technology world. And it's not bad learning from the good cultures, technologically good cultures, different countries. But yeah, I mean, this is a long story. I don't think we can really discuss everything in this session.
Yeah, of course, that's really good. So this brings me to a very good point that you mentioned as well. So coming from this technical standpoint, what do you think it can be considered as a quality software? So you mentioned about stability, about the completeness of the software. So other than just performing the functionality as needed, what do you think can be termed as a quality software product?
Wow, that's a very good question. The definition of quality have changed actually. Earlier, quality was simply you have no bugs. This is in simple words. You have no bugs. It's a very high quality. But now, quality means that the user proves it works for me. So now the dimensions, the priorities have changed. Now quality is all about user acceptance. So it's usability. Now behind the scene, the challenges that you face to make it very qualitative or to produce quality results is that it's user friendly, user experience is great, and then it's secure because you're dealing with your customer data. There's a trust. No matter what software, it has some this or that part of the customer data. How do you transport? How much he can rely with your software by providing their private data? Privacy is a matter, and trust me, again, coming back to the last part, it's very difficult to help emerging economies understand what is data privacy, why personal data is important. They simply don't care. I mean, so see,
Yeah.
so quality now have a broad perspective. It has broadened itself. So you need to look at the bigger picture. The definition of quality has changed. It talks about user experience. It talks about user acceptance. It talks about security. It talks about reliability, stability, and it talks about cross-platform compatibilities, cross-device compatibility. So there's a lot of things that have added to define a new definition of quality.
Right, absolutely. So, Alif, if I were to tie this whole conversation back to your role at IDWare, so just in a very simplified way, what do you think IDWare's unique differentiator is, and what makes you or what keeps you motivated to be working at the company?
I love IDWare, by the way, to start with this note.
Okay, that's
So,
good.
yeah. Principally, what I have learned at IDWare is amazing. Therefore, initially, it was for me a total new industry. But if you look at my career, you see that I have already been switching the industries. At the end of the day, I'm dealing with software. So, for me, the biggest surprise was when Audi said, join Audi, and as a convertible car head. And I was like, what I have to, I was there because I was looking for job, of course. I was very excited about the job description. And but I being someone sitting right there at Audi Volkswagen in Audi headquarters with zero knowledge of automotives, it was like I was surprised when they say, yes, come and join. So imagine a software guy heading this convertible car section of Audi, and it was like Porsche is there, or Bentley is there. You just look at the car. I have to lead this thing. Okay, I have to make sure that this roof is opening up and closing down within 13 seconds, for example. But anyway, so what makes me happy at IDWare? So when I joined IDWare, it was for me totally new industry, identity and access management. And initially it was a little boring. It's a
Okay,
niche market.
of
It's a niche
course, of
market, by the
course,
way.
yeah.
So there is a benefit of working in niche market, and there is a disadvantage and advantage. So a disadvantage is if you are expert at it, then principally we hardly have a competition. So which means if there is a COBOL programmer today and bank needs a COBOL programmer, then he is a very valuable person. So which means they will pay anything to get him. So this is the benefit of working in niche market. But the disadvantage is if you leave this industry, then it's hard to find an alternative to continue your career. But that's not what I'm thinking of planning right now because I'm enjoying my stay at IDWare. So why IDWare is interesting? Because of the client team. I mean, now I have realized, at IDWare I have realized how important data privacy is, how important compliances are. We have more than 100 customers altogether. We have just done an acquisition with that. We have got 40 more customers on board with this acquisition because we bought our competition. So we acquired it, and I did for the first time due diligence, a proper due diligence of another great company. So it was like, then I realized that wow, Volkswagen, Airbus, their expectation from a software. What I love is that these customers send me a list of questions, and every time I'm surprised. I still remember, and this gives me a lot of opportunity to really improve myself, my knowledge base. I give you one example. I used to tell this to university students. I was reading through the questions I got from one of my customers, or potential customers. It's a usual practice at IDWare, and this is what I love. Every time I got these questions at this questionnaire, I see so many things that actually are mostly new for me. So I got a question from one of the potential customers asking me how much, actually, they asked me how much noise we produce, how much heat we produce while our softwares or our data center. And I immediately, because we are ESG compliant corporation, so we are green, we are promoting green software development. And this is also a requirement from one of our many of our customers. So I immediately recognized this as something to do with ESG compliance. Okay, but I was like, okay, how much heat we generate? I don't know that.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but this gave me an opportunity to really dig into it and really work with my IT team together and say, okay, guys, we have a question to answer. So let's sit together, let's see what we are doing. So this is why I love IDWare. And every time we get new customer on board, they come up with 100 questions, and I learn a lot of new things. I have complete freedom. I'm dealing with identity access management, which is truly involved everywhere. So if you are moving right now, if you are logging to 10 different systems, you need to identify yourself.
Right.
So this is what we are dealing with. We are principally we are dealing with physical identity access management, and we are working on virtual identity access management product. But that's something for future. There we are dealing with some monopoly, some competition with Apple, and some challenges with Samsung or Android systems. But that's something future. Right now, we are dealing with physical identity access management, which means we have customer, for example, what you enjoy is that you have great names in your portfolio. You are working with German police, for example, and uh, and then you really enjoy that. Okay, all their workflows, all their excesses, all their smooth daily operations are based on the smooth and stable execution of your software. So, which means if your
Hmm.
software goes down, they cannot really move within their own premises, secure premises. So, you need to make sure that you are delivering the best of the breed product to them. And which is not easy because every customer is different, by the way. One of my customer asked, and they have really secure environments. So sometimes we have SaaS solutions, we have on-premises installations, and we have parallel running versions. It's such a different situation at every customer, which gives you this really challenge your skills, and I love that. I mean, I worked at other countries, other companies, and other software that I have programmed or let's say led in the past. But this variety of challenges, which really keep me always in motion, which always challenge me, and every day is 10 different things which usually I have no idea about. So I look at every day I get surprises, but this gives me an opportunity to learn something new, and I love that. I love that at IDWare.
Right. Right. Excellent. So, Ali, switching gears a little bit, if I were to if I were to ask you about core values, so certainly they provide us a framework to function properly and address the challenges. So, other than being an employee at IDWare, as a person, what's the set of core values that you really adhere to?
Transparency, I would say. Transparency. I still remember my initial discussions with my new CEO because the last CEO got retired. He was old, so then the investment group, we belong to certain investment group. They had a new CEO, and with him, I have learned a lot of new things and great things. So transparency is one of the things. So we are absolute transparent within the organization and with our customers as well. So which means we share what we have, what the problems, benefits, everything, just to gain the trust. So people trust credibility. We have built some credibility and we are working on that. We are very conscious about that. Transparency is one of the things I would say. So we are open, we are employee oriented. For example, IDWare is a family, and we promote the slogan. We say we are family, so we treat each other, and everybody is same. Everybody is okay. We have open office culture, for example. We support all the trends, for example, home office and all that. And we have some really interesting thing at IDWare, but I will tell you if you will have time.
Right. So, other than that, now that we're reaching the end of our conversation, Ali, I honestly had a great time talking to you. So, we'll wrap it up at this point by let's say if I were to quiz you on your entrepreneurial side of your professional journey, what do you think really makes a startup or a small to medium sized company succeed? Like, what are the set of strategies or the decision making, in your opinion, that would really lead small to medium sized businesses to eventually succeed?
Interesting. So principally, just for your information, that I have been financing a lot of startups in different universities. And I'm supporting students. I have worked with them, and I'm part of the angel investment network in UK as well. So which
Nice.
means I got a lot of requests. People want me to evaluate their pitches and provide them or prepare their pitches, for example. And I have talked to a lot of venture capital companies, private investors, firms for different reasons. So principally, what I have, I think it's different from country to country. But what I believe is most important thing if you want to be an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur, basically two things: your idea and your team. You cannot say if your idea is excellent and team is bad, they both have the same weightage. So if you have a great team, then your documents, your pitch documents, you're presenting something. You need to be very precise. You need to know your market, your target audience, and you really addressing a problem, or you are creating a problem to address. So are you generating a new market, or are you already addressing the existing problem in the way you are existing? So I have analyzed a lot of pitches from students, from seasoned entrepreneurs. Let's say I have worked with them. I have wonderful experience guiding people. I have written many articles on this thing. Principally, coming back to your question, I really promote people to try this once in their life. It's very interesting experience if people can afford to, and they have motivation to be an entrepreneur. They want to. Important thing is dedication, focus, proper homework. They understand what they are doing, and it's just not try and see. No, it's not fun. It's not something part time. It's a full time job. You really need to know what you're doing, and you really need to know, do you have finances? You need money from somewhere. Then you need to really tell people why they should invest in you. And they are not only investing in ideas. There are people walking around with 10,000 wonderful ideas, but they don't have means to translate this idea into a product. They don't have means to sell this great product to the market. They don't know the right time and right industry or right market where they have to sell. Maybe something will work in US, but not in Pakistan or in India or somewhere else. So really need to be detail oriented. You must have done great work. Your pitch documents should be short, precise, excellent, to the point. and do not get lost into details, I would say. But it depends whom you are talking to. You should have great team, focused people, dedicated people. So trust me, if you have a wonderful idea, you have done your homework, you have a great team, then it's very easy to find great investors like me. So I do invest, for example,
Right.
if something.
Yeah.
And then I think it's all about your luck. At the end of the day, business is always a kind of a risky thing. If you have great idea, you have great investors standing behind you, you have great team, but you don't have luck, you need some luck as well. And then if it's all work, then yeah, you can make another Amazon, another Google. Why not?
Right. So with that, we'll wrap up the conversation. Ali, thank you so much once again for being part of the show and really sharing your insights with our greater audience. And as far as our audience are concerned, if you like the content, do like, share, and subscribe to show your support. And do buy me a coffee, to which I'll provide a link in the description as well. So until the next episode rolls out, do keep pushing towards your goals. Do take care of yourselves and your loved ones. And until the next episode rolls out, this is your host, Usama, signing off. And I will catch you in the next one. Thank you.